to episode 126 of Checkpoint Chat. I had to double check because I was like, that number's not right.
Can't
that
say
be
that's
right.
ever happened before.
Yeah, I can't say no. That's never happened before. What are you talking about? My name is Alessandro Barbosa. I'm joined as always by Matthew Figueroa.
On a delayed episode. Apologies for last week being missed, but we in classic fashion have some technical difficulties, and it's always a good time. One day things work, the next day they don't.
I mean, it's technical difficulties that still exist here, like on this recording.
Well,
but we've just made a plan.
Let's put the challenge out to you, the listener. Tell us what's wrong with the episode. If there is anything wrong with the episode, because I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in post.
I will not let it go out without editing what is happening right now. It's just
okay.
There's little tick that just suddenly appeared on the microphone. So every second or two, it's like tick.
I was going to say
tick,
predict what was wrong
tick.
with the episode.
No, I'll get rid of that thing. Fuck it. I'm gonna nuke that sound effect from the sun.
It'll be hilarious though if you're like, yep, I'll get rid of that sound effect or your money back guaranteed. And then when the episode goes out, you're like, listen, I really tried. I couldn't get rid of it.
It'll be
so bleak.
There will not be an episode 127 because I'll just quit on the spot.
Isn't this 126?
Shut up. Well, there won't be 127. Put it that way.
I mean, you're not wrong. But yeah, apologies for the missed episode last week, but we have so much stuff to talk about this week, regardless.
I mean, last week would have been busy as well because we've just been playing a bunch of games, but also like now we're nearing the end of the year. I guess this will be the last regular episode of the year from us because the next episode will be our game of the year discussion, and then we are taking a break until January sometime. We'll obviously communicate when we come back, but it'll probably be just early January. We need that little December break to recharge. Also, you flying away? I'll be in Cape Town, so
land
I'll
of
be
the flat mountain.
Incapable. Yeah, like whenever I tell people,
incapable. Oh, you're gonna get trashed, right?
Every time I tell people I'm going to Cape Town, they're like, "Ooh, that's a bit dangerous." I'm like, "Yep, I am not going to the beach. I'm literally going to Cape Town just for a change of scenery because I've been stuck at home the entire year. So even if I go there and just like chill on a veranda and look at the ocean, or like we're renting a car for the first time because normally we just Uber everywhere and whatever, but I'm not too keen on Ubering with COVID. So like we'll have our own car so we can drive to new places and whatever. Like,
but that's cool. I mean, that opens up a lot of like other places that you wouldn't necessarily Uber to.
Exactly. And also like gonna avoid the obvious areas. Like I know the beaches, like I'd love to go to the beach, but Shani and I are being like pragmatic where like if we go there and it's like people on top of one another, then I'm not gonna go there. Like that's simple. We can find, quieter beaches or whatever. Because I think it's going to be a shit show there, like, to be honest. Like, we normally try go in January because December is just hellish in Cape Town. Yeah. But Shani couldn't take leave in January, so we're going during peak season during a fucking pandemic. So, yeah, we've made plans to avoid them pandemias. Yeah, as much as possible. Are you're not going anywhere?
No, I'm just chilling. I've only got the week between Christmas and New Year off, and let me tell you, it can't come soon enough. I need a holiday so badly.
Even me.
I'm feeling. I very seldom feel this way, but I think it's because of the year and that the fact that we haven't actually. I've had leave like here and there, but I haven't actually had a proper holiday. But I'm feeling like very. Not burnt out, but I'm feeling very drained. Like I just need a little break so I can reset and get back to normal.
Yeah, I feel the same. I know exactly what you mean. Just like it's amazing what 2 weeks of just not having any sort of like obligations can do. Seriously helps. So it's been a long year. Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, them things.
That's the only console I get to take. Because I'm not going to pack up like other consoles and take them there.
You're not going to take the PS5?
No, wow. Yeah, sure. That would just take up like half my friggin' luggage space to do that.
Are you even a real gamer if you don't pack a PS5 into the overhead storage?
No, you put
No?
it in your like hand luggage. There must be a market where like there's like a strap that connects to the little like dock, so you just carry it like a.
Put it in a backpack.
Yeah, exactly. Just a little brief. I used to have this officially licensed backpack for which seems ridiculous now, but for the original Xbox. So
wow.
when my dad got it from overseas, he got the Xbox backpack, which was like, you used to get console backpacks which were configured so that you could pack the console nicely. Now that thing is fucking huge, and it is a brick. And it was never elegant getting that thing in the bag, but it worked.
Well,
it was heavy, but it worked.
If you walk through the airport with that thing in your back, I can tell you that all the kids turned to their parents and said, "Look, mom and dad, a real gamer."
Out in the wild.
They've got their console. They're ready to game in Cape Town.
Get out of here.
Good Lord. Yeah. But
yes, that's exactly what it is.
So, yeah. That's funny. Well, you must enjoy your break.
My PC's just telling me that my mouse is about to die.
Oh, nice. You haven't plugged it in. How dare you?
No.
Let me tell you that.
I'm still figuring things out with this mouse, but this mouse is nice. I really, really like this mouse.
You have the wireless version of my beautiful mouse.
What is this? The
G502.
Wait, so is mine still G502 but wireless?
Yeah, yours is like the G502 Hero Wireless or something like
Hero
that.
Lightspeed. Oh yeah, it says on the bottom here, G502 Lightspeed.
That's it. Whoa, when you plugged your mouse in, your camera went.
Oh no! My camera's doing weird things again.
It's fine. People listening don't give a shit about what you look like. It's fine. I can see you.
That's so weird. Like I don't understand.
Back to something.
I don't understand. We're still getting up to grips with a lot of this Logitech hardware that you'll hear more about next year.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's just
suffice to say, there's a lot of. There we go. There's a lot of cool shit for us to play with. So G502 mouse. I think this is the
835.
No, it's the 8 something keyboard. Hold on.
Oh my gosh, I'm seeing the keyboard
G815.
815, not 35.
G815 clicky keyboard. It makes lots of noise and I like it a lot.
It's clickety clackety.
Did you know there was a USB pass-through at the top?
Yes.
See, I didn't. So now I've plugged my wireless dongle for my mouse there. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Well, I mean, surely you would have known that though because it's got 2 USB ports.
Yeah, so you see, I'm dumb. Sometimes I'm dumb and I see the 2 USB ports and I'm like, oh, maybe that's because it needs light.
That powers all the flashy LEDs.
That's literally my brain. That was literally my brain.
Wow.
What's funny is that I can't use this keyboard on my MacBook for work because there's only 2 USB ports on the whole laptop and they split. So it's one on one side, one on the other side.
But I think, okay, I could be wrong, but I think one of the cables for the keyboard will allow you to get away with just using the keyboard.
It will, but then I don't have the USB pass-through, and then I'm like, whole thing. Yeah, no, it's...
Why'd you buy a MacBook, man? The 2 USB ports.
I don't get to choose. I don't. Oh. So I attached my other mechanical keyboard to my MacBook, and man... I type up a fucking storm now during work.
Do you double up on the keyboards? You type you type with one hand on the Logitech and the other on your other one?
Oh, it's just like a ducky mechanical keyboard. I often have my laptop and my desktop powered at the same time, and they're both connected to the same monitor. So I just swap between inputs.
Likewise.
And then I shouldn't be saying this on a public forum, but never mind. Let's carry on.
Anyway,
before I get fired, this Checkpoint Chat, talk about video games.
We talk about stuff.
We are at the tail end of the year, which means we're both wrapping up big games, but also like there's been more games than usual, and now there's like very little coming out. Well,
whatever.
Cyberpunk's out next year.
No, this week.
I mean, next week. I mean,
you're listening to this on a Monday or Tuesday, whatever. Cyberpunk's out on Friday or Thursday.
We do not have code yet.
So can't
probably won't get before launch. So yeah.
Listen, I really want to play Cyberpunk, but I've still got so much other stuff to play. I mean,
I don't see myself playing Cyberpunk till the new year because I'll be in Cape Town.
I don't see myself playing Cyberpunk till at least 2077. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
It's been episode 126 of Checkpoint Chat.
Cool. Goodbye.
It is on sale not on sale, but there's a good price on it on GOG, which is CD Projekt Red's storefront. It's like $52 there, I think, as opposed to the 60.
So $60. That's
and
nice.
it's DRM free, so you can play it without having GOG open.
That's cool. Cyberpunk.
Also, that GOG launcher is really good because it's. I don't know if you've tried it, but they updated it a while
tried
back.
It back in the day, yeah.
Yeah, no, they updated it a while back, 2.0. And it's basically like a hub for all your other launchers. So you can...
yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
So it just launches everything else through there.
Yeah,
That's
so you
cool.
can connect your Epic Store, your Steam. What's weird is that you can connect your Xbox One. So I see games that are only on an Xbox that are just there, and I'm like, but why?
No, but that happens in reverse as well. So Noelle, who I work with, she was saying like, hey, what's your like your Xbox?
What's your
username?
gamer tag?
Yeah, what's your gamer tag when Ash is a friend? And she's like, I know I had the right person because it said you've played Hades recently. I was like,
how does
but
it
how?
know?
How does it even know? I'm playing it on Steam, but my Xbox app is picking up what else I'm playing on the PC. It seems.
Yeah, so Windows knows what you're playing. It's weird because I've had people messaging me being like, "Oh, you're playing this," and I'm like, "How do you know that?" Yeah,
Are you watching me.
so
Got Bill Gates looking through my window, saying, "Yes, Hades." Writes it on a notepad.
I was more confused because I was like, "How does it know what you're playing on Switch?" And then I remembered, "Oh, right, you play it on
I play on PC. Yeah.
on PC." Yeah. I'm still eagerly waiting for that.
The cross save.
Yeah, the cross save patch.
Listen, it's funny because I watched the No Clip documentary a couple of weeks ago, and the one episode where they talk about we're getting ready to announce that we're launching on Switch, whatever, and then like they cover of like, yo, it's gonna be this and this, and we're gonna have cross save out the gate, and it's like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
something happened that they couldn't get that functionality working.
I guess at the end of the day, there was still the pandemic, so like
Yeah.
they couldn't. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like one day it's just going to be like, oh yeah, it's out. You know what I mean? And that'll be cool because
I'll 100% rebuy that game on Switch.
I've got it on PC. I mean, I bought it in early access on PC.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I want to be able to just hop between the two because I think on PC it has the high frame rate and whatever. Not to say that it isn't good on Switch, but yeah. Sorry, I'm messing with the
it's a good time.
the soundboard here. I'm obsessed with levels.
Obsessed with levels and gains, am I right?
I've been eyeing new microphones.
Oh wow.
New audio interfaces.
Thought you say buddies have been hitting the gym, getting them Guess
well,
not.
the new audio interface will have a lot of gains.
Wow.
At least 2 knobs for gain.
Twice as many gains.
Twice as many gains, microphone gains.
Will be distorted. It'll be great.
You know who has gains though?
Tell me.
Miles Morales.
I knew that was coming.
I mean, he's not a big...
Like you've made the best segue in history. Like, yeah.
He's not the biggest boy, but he's
a good boy.
He's gained some. Before I chat about this game, which I really, really like, just like OG Spider-Man, there's lots of suits, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the suits, in original Spider-Man, you had the animated suit, which I really liked. It was like that cel-shaded look. So you get that here, which is a completely separate skin to the Into the Spider-Verse skin from the film. That one from the film is interesting because it shows off parts of the animation, not the weird low frame rate mod. I got motion sick trying to use that, so I don't advise it. But there's like subtle differences to that suit that really come through in the game. But what it does do, which is really weird, is change Miles's proportions because like the animation style there, he's much more slender and like stick figure like almost. And I can't remember who it was. I think it was Imran Khan from Kind of Funny on Twitter yesterday who was like, in cutscenes, if you've got that equipped and Miles takes off his mask, the body proportions are just so
really?
fucked up. Yeah, like his head is way too big for his body.
I need to go see that.
It's so funny. Like I don't think I wore it enough to see it in a cutscene, but when I saw that photo, I was like, oh god, that looks weird.
Right now.
It's it was quite something. But yeah, Miles Morales, what a game.
Next game I'm playing. I'm very excited to get to it.
I tell you, if I had just bought a PS5 and I chose this as the game to be my launch game, I would be well chuffed with my choice. Like, it is proper good. It is, it's a lot of the same Spider-Man in essence. But I feel like because it's a bit of a shorter adventure, it's way better paced.
Yeah.
It always feels like I'm doing something that's vital to the story. The side quests, there are side quests, but they're not like, like in Spider-Man, you'd often do like an enemy hideout, the first one, and Peter would be like, oh, there must be many of these in the city. And then just like fucking 20 things popped up on the map.
Yeah.
So it does that, but there's like maximum like 6. So it's like, oh, this is manageable.
So
you know what I mean?
Like reigned in the side stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably one of my only criticisms of the original is that I still haven't got the platinum. I've done literally everything else, but my last trophy is go around the city and just do the crime stuff.
Yeah,
and
those suck.
I was like, every district has 5 of them, and there are like, I don't know, 12 districts. Like I'm thumb sucking here. I'm like, I just don't have it in me to swing around.
And wait for the crumbs to pop, and then it has to be the correct crumb.
Yeah, and I'm like, nah. I don't know.
So let me tell you, they've taken some of those criticisms to heart and really changed things here. So now you still have dynamic crimes that happen, but the types of crime they track through what they call the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man app, which is really funny.
That's amazing.
So on there you have a log of like not side missions, like more important civilian missions. And then you have regular crime activities. And under that tab, it shows you all the different types that can randomly pop up. And on there, you can also see the bonus objectives tied with each type.
Yeah.
And those bonus objectives are persistent. So like if you hit one of the bonus objectives, the next time you find that crime, that bonus objective will still be ticked off. But the point is like, if you're looking for a specific type of crime, you can use the app and mark that, and it will tell you where that is happening, as opposed to you just swinging around and hoping for it to like pop. Yeah. So that is much, much better, especially now when I'm going back and looking at trophies, and it's like, you need to get all the bonus objective on the crime, on each crime permutation. I'm like, well, that's easy. I can just use the app to do that. Yeah. There's also then these like more important civilian side missions, which, they're like small little short story. They're not really like side missions. Those are more reserved for more important characters. But it's like a mini mission where you go to a civilian. They're like, oh, like the one that you've probably seen in the trailers, the dude who owns like a bodega. He's got a cat named Spider-Man and it's gone missing, and you've got to go find Spider-Man. And that actually like ties into some other like side quest stuff. So it's cool. It's integrated nicely within its own like little micro story that happens around the city as well. And again, there's not like, maybe I think in total maybe like 6 or 7, and they're all scattered around the city, and they're all really fun to do. Yeah. So yeah, I just feel like the game is, there's definitely less content there, but at the same time, they don't waste time doing anything. Like you start that game with all the core abilities that Peter had. So like you can web zip and launch from a point when you landed it, which is something you had to unlock in the original. You've got all your swinging abilities. You've got all your combat abilities unlocked, so you can yank things. There's only like small things that aren't unlocked, which are to me not as important. Like when you perfect dodge, if you perfect dodge and then hit triangle, you'll web the guy's face who try to shoot you. You have to unlock that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But most of your combat moves are unlocked from the get go. I think when we did our video, which is up on our YouTube channel, I said that it felt slightly overwhelming because the game expects you to know immediately what's happening.
Well, especially if you last played Spider-Man when it came out.
Yeah, like 2 years ago. Yeah.
So like for me, I finished it like 3 months ago, so I'll still have somewhat of a.
It'll be quite fresh for you. Yeah. But what's cool is that that is just the basis of the gameplay. Yeah, Miles is his own Spider-Man with his own unique abilities, and let me tell you, those abilities are interwoven so well into this game that I can't imagine going back to Peter now who doesn't have those abilities. So probably the most prominent is what they call his Venom powers, which is like his electromagnetic, well, like they call them zappy fingers, which I think is quite funny. But basically you can imbue some of his attacks with electricity, and that ties into like some enemies. One of the big enemy factions in this game is called the Underground, and they have weapons that are kind of like, they call them programmable matter. So say you yank an enemy's gun away from them, they can just like reform the gun in their hands.
Okay.
Or one enemy will have like gauntlets that you have to use an electric attack to break. But if you let them slide for long enough, they can regenerate those gauntlets.
Okay.
So sort of like in the original, when you had brutes, you usually had to like dodge under their legs and hit them from behind, or dodge under their legs and web them. Here, if like someone's defending themselves with the gauntlets, you use L1 and square to do like an electric punch to break that. Or there's another enemy that has this like, it almost looks like a Bloodborne weapon, like the threaded cane, where it's like a sword, but then it's a whip sort of thing. Yeah. So them, you have to use like this dash electric attack to pin them down because they're very quick, stuff like that. And the electric attacks, firstly, the way combat looks visually is just unbelievable. The way that game holds, I'm playing on fidelity mode because I think the ray tracing adds a lot to the game.
Yeah.
But it holds a steady 30 constantly, and holy shit, there's so much happening in combat. There's like, the Underground have got these like neon purple weapons, and you're using this like really orangey yellow like electricity all the time, and it's just
so pretty
effect popping off like everywhere. It's really really cool, and so it adds that visual flair to it. But there's also, it makes the combat feel so much deeper than the first game. Like I never thought the first game was like a cheap ripoff of like Batman. I thought it was smarter than that. But this one really shows how smart that entire system is, because you are using, you can only use electricity attacks when you've built up like a meter, and you get that meter by like hitting and dodging enemies. So it's like you've got to hit, you've got to bounce between enemies. You're pressing triangle to web zip to someone, hit them twice, web zip to someone else, hit them twice. Launch someone in the air, hit them in the air, then zip someone into the air. Oh, then I've got Venom, so now I can take out this guy. It's like, it's really,
it's a fun balance.
At the same time, it's fluid. It doesn't feel like I'm like sort of. It's not the Doom Eternal problem, which I find, where it's like I need this ammo to deal with this enemy, and I have to like bounce between. It feels natural, but also like I'm thinking about combat. I'm not just mashing on square, and it's just so satisfying. Like there's probably my favorite move is this Venom launch, where if you're on the ground, you can burn a Venom stack by pressing L1 and square, and you will like do like an area of effect around, like an area of effect attack around you, and everyone near you will launch up and get electrocuted. And it's just such a great crowd control method, because I can just like launch 5 enemies in the air and take them out there. The combat is just, I can't imagine going back to Peter now where he doesn't have this. Like, that's the thing. Like,
so it makes me wonder, like, what are they going to do with the next game now?
I don't know. Like, I think I was chatting to Darren about this, and he was like, probably what they're going to have to do is integrate Peter's gadgets into the combat system, as opposed to having it on like an R1, because Miles still has gadgets. You know, you have that gadget wheel, and you can, but I hardly used my like web shooters in combat, which I used a lot in the original Spider-Man. This one, I just don't feel the need to. So I feel like they're going to have to integrate some of those gadgets into your standard attacks as opposed to making it like an equipable weapon to feel as fluid. Because I really don't want to go back to a game where I don't have this many options. Yeah. And then on top of that, so he has the electricity, which ties into some puzzles as well in some cool ways. But then also in your stealth sections, you have invisibility. So active camo, which runs on like a meter. So what's cool is that there's an ability where like if you fuck up and you do a takedown that wasn't safe, so someone would have seen you, it auto cloaks you so that you won't be spotted. So that's like a nice like, okay, you messed up.
Yeah,
we've got you. But then at the same time, there's also, I feel like they get more inventive with the scenarios they put you in, because they expect you to use active camouflage to get to enemies that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. So there's some cool instances where you have to think about like, oh, right, I can go invisible, so of course I can get to this area unseen. You know what I mean? Like there was this one side mission where I had to get close. I'm not going to say why, but I had to get close to like a group of pigeons, and they kept flying away from me. And I was like, I couldn't understand it. I spent like 20 minutes like finding new angles to come at them. And then eventually I was like, oh, right, I can go invisible. And I went invisible and I just like walked like in the middle of them. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it. I get it, game. I get what you're trying to tell me.
Thanks.
So it's stuff like that. You can even cloak during combat. So if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, or if you just want to like throw them off a little bit, you like quickly tap cloak, you move around a little bit, or you web zip to someone, and it like completely resets the flow of combat. It again, just so fluid, so good.
Time.
And this is all, this is all on top of the core like tenets of the game that were good in the original. Like the swinging is still super fun. Miles has his own like
feedback now.
Yeah, so you've got a bit of haptic feedback. Like you can feel. So the trigger is, I don't really understand what it's trying to convey, but basically the trigger is like completely loose up until right at the end, where you can like forcibly push it all the way through. And I don't know if that extends your swing or something. And I was testing it out. Like if I don't push it all the way through, then what happens is like, as I'm getting near the end of my swing, that resistance disappears. And then my finger naturally just like pushes through it. So I don't know. I can feel what it's trying to do, but I'm not sure what like mechanic it's trying to like convey to me. But the vibration's really good. The DualSense works really well in that sense. And yeah, I think, Miles has got his own animations to combat and swinging, and just those little differences, like the way he looks so out of control sometimes when he's swinging, like he's still learning, you know what I mean? It just gives him so much more character. It doesn't feel like a reskinning of Peter Parker. And it is kind of weird at the beginning when you see them swinging together, you can immediately tell the differences, just the way they approach things. So yeah, it's great. I mean, this is all outside of a fantastic story that I think it's a bit smaller scope, but there's also more characters that I cared about, like in terms of writing, like Miles's friends, his mother. The only person I really didn't like was, I guess, he's not really the big bad, but he's like the big corporate bad guy, Simon Krieger, who's voiced by Troy Baker. Firstly, I like Troy Baker, but this performance is like, it sounds real phoned in. Like,
oh really?
Yeah, it just sounds like. Yeah, it just sounds like Troy Baker. So I was like, okay. And the character just doesn't have enough really going for him that makes them interesting. So, but other than that, the ending is something. The ending is
I've heard the ending's really good.
Again, like from a story perspective, but also like visually, like you played the original, the ending there is one of the most visually beautiful things that I've ever seen on a PS4. And then Insomniac comes here and they're like, yeah, okay, we can do better. And they do. Like, I was busy playing this and I'm like, how the fuck are they making it look this good? Like what a finale. Cool, I can just tell you.
I'm very keen to play this game.
It's really good.
I just wrapped up my stuff.
I probably won't get the platinum because I was looking at the trophies and one of the trophies is complete the game in New Game Plus. And I was like, no. I mean, I want to, but
I mean,
I don't have time for that.
if you were to like skip every cutscene in that, I mean, how long do you think it would take?
Yeah,
I mean,
think,
like, how long is your game time now? Guesstimate.
Guesstimate. I don't know, probably close to like 12 to 15, and I did everything.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
I did all the side missions, it's probably about 12. It's not that long. Like it's very Uncharted Lost Legacy length.
Okay.
But again, I felt by the end I didn't feel cheated. I felt like the story had a good pace. I was playing like 2 or 3 hours in the evenings. And I just I looked forward to booting it up and playing it. Yeah, it's a phenomenal game. I think it's just Insomniac really knocked it out the park, and I'm very keen to see where they take Spider-Man from here now. To be fairly honest.
Well, what's nice is that I do think the next. So, I mean, Sony did the thing with like, hey, here's a new Spider-Man, and then only later like also came to PS4. So I'm quite curious to see the next game wherever it goes. But beside that, I'm pretty sure it'll be a PS5 exclusive. Like I think at that point, yeah, like the PS4 will be shelved, and they can 100% lean into. Well, we don't have to worry about backward compatibility or whatever. Like let's really lean into the PS5 and what it's capable of. So
I wonder like if they've. I assume they've at least started on it, but like this came in 2 years, and let me tell you, some of the production value on here. It could have been. They could have easily padded this out with missions and called it a sequel. Like no doubt they could have. But like they've also got Ratchet and Clank coming next year. So like, holy shit,
they're busy.
They are. Yeah. So I if it takes another 2 or 3 years for another Spider-Man, I wouldn't be surprised. And by then, I definitely think it's only PS5. So yeah, what a game!
That's Spider-Man,
real good, really good.
Yeah, I'm playing that next, and I can't wait.
But what have you been playing?
What have you been playing? We've both been playing some Demon Souls as well. I mean, I know you haven't played as much as I have.
Yeah, I only started it up again last night after Miles, but you finished it.
I finished the damn
My
game.
God. I feel like when you told me that yesterday, I was like, oh, that was quick.
It's actually not that long. So I think my clocked playtime was like 24 hours. And if you sit and think, well, if I
that's
sit and think
actually pretty fast for someone who's never played Demon Souls.
Yeah, but I mean, it's I've played other From games, and I still died a fair bit. Like I died 140, 150 times. So if I take out, like if I were to just play through each section, know where I'm going, like the game's not that long. Like in comparison to a Bloodborne or Dark Souls 3, which feels like, I mean, you've played Bloodborne, it's like you go into an area and you just keep going and going and going and going.
I'm curious. Play Bloodborne again now that you know where you're going, and it's
it's
quite rapid. Like
no, it'll be short. But I think my first Bloodborne playthrough was also like 30 hours, let's say, like 30-ish, whatever. But I mean, so the point I'm getting at is that the game felt like I was actually just as surprised. Like I finished the game, but it was a good time. Like I think there are 5 areas, and you would know, like just exploring them, that's actually where the real joy in the game comes from. I think it's actually amazing how even from the get-go, From had such strong level design. I can't imagine playing this on a PS3. Like imagine being a new person playing this on the PS3 for the first time and then just exploring these levels. I would have been absolutely floored by how sprawling and how big they are. Like I don't know what they look like because I'd never played the original, but the fact that there were these super dark dungeons to go and explore with like tons of enemies and traps and disaster just waiting to happen, it really must have been mind-blowing. And like there's a reason it led to more games being made and why it's so beloved by a lot of people. But yeah, Demon Souls on the PS5 it's incredible. Like I was telling you yesterday, I had an itch for Bloodborne. I'm like, yeah, okay, I've played this game, let me go back and just explore some other From games. And booting up Bloodborne now, I know people say the jump from PS4 to PS5 doesn't feel that big because the real emphasis is load times, let's say, like load times, and there is ray tracing, like all those bells and whistles. But if you have just played Demon Souls and you go back to Bloodborne, it's like, oof, this hurts my eyes.
Especially since Demon Souls is like
It's like
the
a
only
PS5,
one of the only PS5 only games. Yeah.
Yeah. So like frame rates aside, I mean, Demon Souls is besides the in performance mode at 60 frames per second, but like visually in terms of lighting and just how it feels, it looks so smooth, you know. Going back to Bloodborne, it's 30 frames per second, and then there's none of this like fancy lighting. The environments don't look as polished. And like, I'm not knocking Bloodborne. It's a great game. I'm just trying to show that like Demon Souls is 100% a PS5 game where it's like, shit, if they can do this for this game, like what else can they do with games that are still to come? Like you've said, Miles Morales looks good because it's got ray tracing and all these cool things on. I wonder what, if you were to boot up your PS4, look at the old Spider-Man, if you'd be like, oh, it still looks good, or be like, oh, like it doesn't look as nice.
What will Bloodborne 2 look like?
What will Bloodborne? Yeah, that's actually what I'm getting at. Like, where's Elden Ring? You know. But yeah, Demon Souls. So as the first game from FromSoft in this whole genre, whatever, it's hard. Like I died plenty, but I suppose my only criticism, and it's not really a criticism because I understand that is their first time exploring this genre. The bosses, like you've pointed out before, are more puzzle-like. They're not so much like a lot of bosses I beat first time, which very relieved to do because you know I want to sit and die multiple times. But it's not quite like Bloodborne or Dark Souls where you know you'll really hit your head against the wall trying to fight a boss over and over again. Bar a few exceptions, there are 2 or 3 that come to mind. I'm like, that feels very much like a, you know, one of them modern day bosses.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's clear that, I don't know, they were trying to convey like big, you know, scale battles, whatever, but maybe at the time they didn't have the means or the tech or the, I don't know, just the know-how to, you know, for example, do a second phase or third phase boss fights, which we all know now is a staple. I mean, when we both fought the Phalanx or, I don't know, whichever
Tower
boss,
Knight. Yeah.
we were like, ooh, what's the second phase going to look like? And there just isn't. The boss you see is what you get from the get. Whatever you see from the get go is what you get for the rest of the fights, and that's fine. But I just want to, you know, point out that don't go in thinking like, oh, this is going to be like, you know, Demon Souls. I mean,
they're
Dark
much
Souls
slower fights as far as I can tell.
Yeah, it's, and a lot of them are really like, okay, I need to just avoid dying and figure out how to kill this boss. It's not so much a thing of I need fast reflexes, you know, again, bar a couple of exceptions. But what I think is quite cool is that if you're new to this sort of genre and you've been put off before because you get stuck on boss fights, this might actually be a good introduction to these games because bar the areas being very difficult, the boss fights themselves are very doable. It's really just about figuring out how to do them. And it's less so about, you know, your, like I've said, your quick reflexes and whatnot.
I definitely think that. I think they are a bit more manageable, which is good because the checkpoints to get to them are way more
Super
spaced out. You know, there is no lantern very close to a boss like there is in Bloodborne.
No.
or a shortcut that leads to a lantern. You know, like in Bloodborne, I can think of so many, like the cleric beast, which is the first optional boss. Like there is a shortcut that leads right back to a lantern, like not even too far from there.
Oh yeah.
Father Gascoigne also has a shortcut that leads back to the same lantern, actually.
Yeah, but I think that's
none of that here.
I think those are lessons they learned, though, in that, okay, we're going to make the bosses a lot harder, but how do we make the experience more seamless that we don't have, you know, players bitching about the whole act of getting there in the first place? I mean, like, Demon Souls has shortcuts, like, for sure, but it feels like there's still a bit of padding or distance to get to some of the bosses.
And I feel like the levels themselves are. I feel like the levels themselves are way harder.
I think, yeah, in terms of actual levels, yeah, like the challenges, sure, there are some levels where it's like, holy shit, like just leave me alone. You're being relentless right now. I mean, I don't know if there's one world which focuses on, which have you only done? You've only explored 3 of the worlds, I think.
4.
Have you done
I did the
4
rolling
of them?
skeleton one.
So you've missed one. I think that's what I'm thinking of, where it's just like it's relentless and like like there's no quick way to get to the boss for a long time, and it's just it can be very frustrating. But that's the nature of some of these levels.
I moved away from the rolling skeleton world purely because I got so far, and then I got to like that cliffside, and then it's like narrow, and then those fucking like magic manta rays are shooting you from the sky, and I was just like, I can't.
I think that is probably one of the most frustrating parts of the game.
Good lord.
And
stupid magic manta rays.
They don't go away.
Did you kill the big? Did you kill
slowly.
him? Oh, I didn't. I just ran past him. I was like,
no.
Nah.
I was like,
Nobody got time for this.
This thing must have good loot, and it wasn't. It was like 1,000 souls. I was like, damn this.
Not
thing.
even that many souls. 1,000 is not even that many.
It was like nothing. Yeah, I was like,
my God.
Okay.
The parrying those skeletons is super satisfying though. I've got that timing waxed, and it's so good.
It's amazing how, like, if I sit and think, if you've only played Bloodborne, right, and now Demon Souls.
I've played a bit of Demon Souls. I played a bit of Dark Souls, and I played quite a bit of Sekiro, but didn't finish it.
As well. But it's amazing how you can play any of these games, at least in my experience. You can play any of them, and it almost immediately makes you want to play the others again. Like, there's just something about, I don't know if it's it's level design and enemies, obviously, but like, there's something about the combat itself where it's so almost methodical and like full of purpose, where you do an attack and there's like weight to it. You see the damage number pop up. And like, I finished Demon Souls. I'm like, well, now I want to go just see what Bloodborne looks like on my PS5 now. And I also want to replay Dark Souls 3. And maybe I should pick up Dark Souls 1 on the Switch or play the remastered somewhere. And like, there's a reason that these games and their DNA are so addictive, because they're really good. Like, I know Bluepoint didn't, it's not their formula. It's From's formula. But they really took this game and they gave it such a good coat of polish that it's, like I pointed out earlier, it's almost difficult to go back to Bloodborne. Like, I'll get over it, obviously. Like, I'll play Bloodborne for an hour and I'll be none the wiser. But going back to it immediately, it's like, oof.
Especially I think the fluidity is a big one. Because, like, man, the whole 60 frames per second is really, it adds a whole new element to this game where it's like, it's much easier to well, I wouldn't say easier, but it feels more...
It feels
responsive to parry. Yeah.
So, I mean, I would love it if Bloodborne's a PlayStation 4 exclusive. If at any point From said, like, they've been rumors for a long time of like Bloodborne coming out on PC. Like, how cool would it be if they, I don't know, just simply unlocked the frame rates? I mean, I know it's not a...
If they put it out on PC, just like, patch it on PS4.
Drop a patch on PS5 to be like, hey, it's the same game, but like, it just runs smoother.
Oh God, I will replay that game again. I don't even care. Like, I wish, because like, that's the thing that, like you said, going back to Bloodborne would be difficult now. And you could, I mean, Dark Souls Remastered did launch on PS4 with like an unlocked 60 frame rate, so you can play that now, all fluid and whatnot. But I mean, like you said, it's Bluepoint's not changed the formula, so this is still, From Software's DNA, and it's amazing that design elements this old still stand up. I'm having a great time with it. I really am.
I think that's what blows my mind, is because I've always known that Demon Souls was the first game from the whole franchise, whatever. And when they said they were remaking it, it's like, oof, like, I don't know how that'll hold up today, because I mean, at the time, I don't know if it was clear, but you can kind of gather that, you don't want to piss fans off, because if they change the formula, it's going to piss people off. So they're going to kind of have to stick to the formula. But like, how will that hold up in a modern setting? And it really does hold up. It's the same good formula of, great level design. You've got your like tons of different weapons and builds you can do. But like I said, the only thing that to me seems dated, and it's not really a criticism, is that the bosses are more puzzle-like. So like, if you're going in as a big FromSoft fan expecting super challenging bosses, like, don't. You're going to set yourself up for disappointment, because while there are some challenging bosses, some of them are like, it's a walkover because it's just the thing of you survive long enough to figure out what the trick is. Yeah.
I do think that all the bosses, what I found is that they require more patience than anything else. Like the Phalanx is a real battle of attrition. The Tower Knight is actually kind of weird because if you don't realize that you need to attack his ankles, like I don't know how you'd manage that fight.
I'm not oblivious to the fact that we live in a time where, you know, it's very easy to just YouTube a video. Not that that wasn't a thing in 2008, but I think given that you and I, for example, have played a bunch of other games that could maybe employ the same sort of tricks, like when I got to the Tower Knight, you and I both were like, how do you do this? It almost became obvious, like, no, you have to attack its ankles. Whereas back then, playing a game like this for the first time, you probably were like, how do I beat this boss? And there was one boss in particular, and I'm quite curious to see how you deal with it when you get there. It is 100% a thing of you can't fight this boss. You have to just figure out how to overcome it. So yeah, it's a good time though. I really enjoyed it.
I think playing that on PS3 without knowing like this is the pace of a Souls game, like not being careful, not being, you know, not expecting what you expect. I mean, we're surprised by these bosses because we expect them to be harder. Yeah. But I assume at the time they were hard because it was like, how do I kill this thing? You know what I mean? Like I don't get how this works. And then on top of that, you know, dying. I mean, the Phalanx is to me the only boss that is like really easy to get back to because it's like right there. But it's like, man, if I got to the town at the first time and then had to redo that entire bridge section, like, I'd be like, pissed. Fuck this game, you know? But because I expect this sort of like rhythm from a Souls game now, like I'm more welcoming of it. So
yeah.
I can't imagine, like I applaud the people who stuck with this when this launched, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have a Souls genre.
We'd never have, yeah. I want to imagine that reality. But last thing before we move on, what I do find interesting is that the bosses that are the most difficult are the ones that closely resemble the bosses we fight today in like Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3. It is.
I thought you meant in real life. I was like, wow, okay.
In real life.
Your reality is real weird.
No, but like those, there are a handful of bosses that are, you know, 100%. It's not a puzzle. It's you against the boss, you dodging and timing your attacks. Those to me were the most difficult, and it's funny because those are pretty much what all modern FromSoft bosses are. It's like maybe 1 in 10 are there's a trick to the boss, whatever, but otherwise it's just you and your wits against whatever you're up against. So
I do feel like Demon Souls, like I've played Dark Souls and obviously Bloodborne, and I mean Dark Souls is a bit slower, but Bloodborne really makes you feel agile. Your dodges are really fast and whatever. Here, like your backstep is like fucking nothing in Demon Souls. So I definitely think the bosses stick to the rhythm of the game as well. You feel a lot clunkier and slower, and the enemies, most of them kind of respect that. Except the octopus heads. Fuck those guys. I hate those guys so much, man. But you have no idea.
But doesn't it? I mean, I don't know how well you remember Bloodborne, but there's 100% an enemy in Bloodborne that's like identical.
The little leech things, yeah.
And it's so funny because playing this game now, there are a lot of things where I'm like, oh, I wonder if that thing in Dark Souls 3 was meant to be a reference to this thing over here. Like it probably was, but it's actually really cool to see these little things that they did first off that have stuck out. You know,
those little leech things in Bloodborne suck because they'd stun you and then it'd be super gross. There'd just be like a little thing coming out their head and they'd just suck.
It's a good
These
time.
octopus things though, you know what bugs me so much about them is like their magic attack, their area of effect is so strong and it knocks you down. So by the time you've gotten back up, they've already done another one. So you just get like staggered. Like,
have you been hit by, I don't know what that spell's called, but is it Soul Arrow? It's just like
their Soul Arrow is ridiculous as well.
It's like insta kill. I'm like, wow.
Even if you block it, it takes like half your health. It's ridiculous.
No, but there've been times where I've straight up just died to it. Sometimes I take the damage like, ow, that hurts. Sometimes it just insta kills. I'm like, are there crits in this game that I'm not aware of? Like,
and then they'll hit you with that stun magic. and then they'll, if you've like got full health, maybe you'll survive their like quote unquote visceral attack. But then again, it drops you to the ground. So as soon as you get up, they hit you with magic and you die. And I'm just like,
roll.
Fuck these guys. I hate them so much. God.
It's a good time. It's a good time though.
And also their magic lingers in the air. So sometimes I've been far enough away from them. They pop their magic and I run towards them and it's still there. So as I'm running towards them, I get damaged and die. And I'm like, oh my God. I hate this game so much. But I love it.
It's one of those love-hate relationships where I'm very keen to replay it. And like you said, now, so like with Bloodborne, replaying that the second time, knowing where to go, how to beat the bosses, it's so much faster and it's just as fun.
My second Bloodborne playthrough was me firstly making sure I got to Canehurst because I missed that the first time. But also like not caring about spoilers, like I read up so much lore and figured out I missed so many areas. Like I missed the area with the choir completely the first time as well. I didn't know that a key later on in the game opened up that door in Cathedral Ward, and it's like there's 2 whole bosses there that I missed. So like that's what was so satisfying about Bloodborne, because as I read up on all the things I missed, it like filled in these pockets of knowledge, and I was like, oh, it like connects way more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool. Great game.
It's a good time.
Fuck those chalice dungeons though. I'm not doing that shit. Also, you haven't played the DLC.
See, well, that's why I've got it on PS5 now, and I'm pleased to see that my trophies and everything are still present, and my save game's there. So
what did you spec in?
I don't know.
Strength and agility.
I don't know.
Because there's a weapon in the Old Hunters. It's the same weapon that a boss has, Lady Maria, that you find near the end of the Old Hunters. But fuck, that weapon rips. It is so good. And if you've spec'd in strength and agility,
it's a good time.
You're going to be slaying people.
I think where I last left off, I was just in Chalice Dungeon. So if I ever do get the time to do, the point of this was I wanted to get a platinum. So I'll probably finish the Chalice Dungeons. I'm like halfway through. I should just see it out, finish the game, and then do a clean playthrough where I then incorporate the Old Hunters DLC.
That DLC is so good, man.
We'll see.
It's so good.
It's a good time.
And it fills in some real story gaps. It's
nice.
Fucking great.
Because I knew exactly what was going on in that story.
Listen, you just got to look up that dude on YouTube who does all the lore videos.
Varty vids, man. It's a good
so
time.
So good. Love those lore videos.
Well, now I get to go watch all the Demon Souls videos, which I'm quite excited for. I'm keen.
I killed Patches in Bloodborne. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, I let him live, but I'm thinking next.
He tries to kill you in Bloodborne.
and in Demon Souls, sorry, I didn't kill him.
Oh no, Demon Souls, I haven't killed him. He's a good merchant. I'm buying stuff from him. So
what, is he a merchant in your Demon Souls?
Yeah, he's on the Nexus. Wait, sorry, that's not Patches. I'm thinking of the dude that looks like Patches. It's not Patches.
Yeah, no, it's not Patches.
I did find Patches. I don't know what he does. Yeah, he's an asshole. Yeah. No, sorry, I keep thinking of the bald merchant who I thought was Patches initially, but it's not Patches. Yeah,
it's not him. Sure, Demon Souls, good time. Would recommend. Get good. That's it. We're quite slim on time here, but I will very, very, very quickly tell you guys that I have finished Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Where do you find the fucking time?
Well, see, this is why I stream. So I've been streaming Demon Souls, playing some Assassin's Creed on the side.
Just playing this 60-hour open world game on the side, casual, whatever.
And when I say I finished the game, I mean I have technically reached the end of all story missions, and I've not seen credits. But I know that I'm at. Yeah, I know I'm at the end of the game, because by the time I've done the whole of England, it's like, hey, you've done the whole map. You've there's a way they phrase it, like you've not liberated, you've done something you've pacified England, whatever it is. Now you just need to go, like, carry on doing side stuff, like explore the world, do mysteries, keep killing members of the Order. And I was like,
oh wait,
yeah,
hold on. So you finished the story missions. Did you go out of the Animus?
Mm-hmm.
And
now
still
I've gone back into
still
no
didn't
credits.
pop. What the fuck?
No credits. So I've been chatting to Jeff about it, and he's like, "No, you're not going to get credits. If you want credits, you have to do X, Y, Z." And I was like,
No.
"Look, I've had my fill of the game. I enjoyed my 60 hours, but I just don't have it in me to go and."
Did it wrap up the modern story yet, or is that still part of like you have to do side stuff?
It's see that's the thing. Okay, it's like semi wrapped up the modern story. Okay, so I don't know if I go do the side stuff if there'll be more to that modern story, but
It's
I'm like,
fine. The modern story is nonsense anyway.
Yeah. Let me tell you, as someone who's never played Assassin's Creed, all I know about Assassin's Creed, or all I knew about Assassin's Creed going in, is that it's not actually, a game set in the past. I mean, it's a game set in the past, but it's more a thing of you in modern times and you exploring the past via the Animus. Like, that is literally my knowledge of the game. I had no idea that there was this whole shit about, there was a whole, like, race before humankind and blah, blah, blah. And I was like,
Yep.
Because let me tell you, before I read up all of this, playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, getting introduced to this stuff, I was like, what the shit is going on here? It was so jarring.
The modern story lore is
wild.
so...
I was reading up yesterday. I read up a whole lot on
so bad.
the Assassin's Creeds before. I'm like, okay. There's like you play as Desmond, who's like, you technically trying to like put off this cataclysmic event in modern time, and I'm like, okay.
Then there's another cataclysmic event. Then there's more. It also just contradicts itself all the time. Like, the whole series was built on this foundation that, Desmond was special because he was directly tied to all these assassins, like the lineage. And then later on, Layla, who's in this one, is just like, nah, I can explore the memories of anyone. It's like, and they just do not explain it.
And I've learned after reading yesterday that Layla is actually present in Origins and Odyssey as well. Okay.
Yeah, she's introduced in Origins, but then the big major villain, I think in the the Abstergo villain, who I think was introduced before Origins or whatever, they kill that major villain off in a comic, and they just lightly reference it in the game. It's like, what are you doing? Like, no.
I don't know. So
nonsense.
All I'll say about Valhalla, like, weird modern story aside, the open world stuff is good. Like, I do like that. So I don't know if you remember when we first spoke about Valhalla, I was very confused because I was like, do these games have side quests? Which I later learned is it 100% does. It just doesn't like put a pin on your map saying like, hey, there's a side quest here. It's a thing. So
that's specific to Valhalla.
That's specific to Valhalla, and that like, hey, there's something to see.
Them discoveries or whatever,
or mysteries, or whatever. Like, we're not going to tell you what it is, but it could be a side quest, or it could be loot or something. I actually really like that purely because it, like, when you explore the game, it makes it feel almost more natural and seamless. Like, if I was just riding across the map and then I would hear someone call from the house, like, help, my house is on fire, I'm like, oh, like, that's a side quest. It's not marked on the map, but it almost feels like it just happened naturally.
Yes, yeah.
I really do like that approach.
I agree.
I would be quite curious to see what they do with the next Assassin's Creed. If they go back to, I think, like, Odyssey is like packed to the brim with side quests.
It's too much, man. It's too much.
Yeah, like, I don't know if they'll go back to that or if they'll stick with this more, like, it feels very natural to do. I mean,
you played this for 60 hours, and this was them like reining themselves in. That gives you an idea of how massive Odyssey was.
Yeah, and 60 hours is like, I think by 40 hours in, I was like, okay, I need to stop doing side stuff. I need to move on to other games. I'm just going to focus on the main quest. If I did the side stuff, like I was telling you, this game's easily 100 plus hours. Like,
easily.
There's so much to see and do. But all I want to say is that, so I enjoy that part of it. I think that's a really great feature. It's a good open world game. Like, I think in terms of how it lays things out and how you explore, it's really good, but it's not in my game of the year discussion at all. Like, it's a thing of like, I'm glad I played it, I enjoyed it, but it's, I don't know, like, if I compare it to something like Ghost of Tsushima, for example, I feel like I was way more engaged, and Ghost of Tsushima felt more, I don't know, it felt like it was more reined in some regards. Like, I played it for maybe 35 hours, and I'd seen most of the map and done a lot of side stuff. Whereas this game feels like there's just too much. And that for me puts me off a bit because I don't have infinite time. Like I'm in a position where I've got other games to play and I need to get through them. So yeah, but overall, like, great open world game. I can't tell you how it stacks up against Odyssey and Origins, but I did enjoy it enough that I'm like, I should probably get to the others at some point. I just don't know when I ever will.
I would, yeah. I mean, I'd super recommend it, especially Origins, just because I think Origins setting is so awesome. Like, that's most of the reason I love the game was its setting and its two main characters. But yeah, I mean, I've played Valhalla. I haven't played much of it recently because I kind of like fell off of it because like it had such a good opening, I thought. I really enjoyed the opening, and I think visually it's like really beautiful. I think especially when you're in Norway where it's like snow and everything, it's like really stunning. I just, I got really excited when they were like, oh, we're bringing social stealth back and we're bringing, blending in, and I was like, oh fuck, okay, they're bringing in, the things from the older Assassin's Creed games that I liked.
Yeah, that you really enjoyed.
Because these things are full-fledged RPGs now. They are not action games, and I'm fine with that. Like, I liked Origins a lot, but it just does feel like it's missing some of the original DNA. So I was like excited for that, but man, this game really does not want you to stealth at all, like ever.
Yeah, like I think the only reason it's called Assassin's Creed is because it ties into the whole Templar, Hidden Ones versus Templar storyline.
Yes.
But in terms of the actual game, like there's like they give you a blade, like, yeah, this is the signature weapon. It's like, okay, that's cool. But stealth is like not a thing in that game. And another thing I was telling you, if I were to play the game stealthily, you can, like, I suppose you can, there are limitations. That game would be even longer.
I still feel like all the encounters aren't really designed for it. They're designed for maybe you can kill two people stealthily, but then you will be in open combat, like straight up. And maybe we should have figured it out at the beginning where Eivor was like, I'm not stealthy, I'm putting this hidden blade on top of my wrist. At that point, I should have been like, okay, fuck, this is what they're going for in the game. But like, you can't do raids stealthily. You can't do story assassination stealthily. Like, it really de-emphasizes stealth.
I think that the raid thing in particular is a bit weird because, like, they could have done it that, maybe, if you're really good, you could do it stealthily. But even in the game mechanic itself, you can't, because you need to force doors open and you need an extra person to, like, open up the chests.
You need to initiate the raid, which...
Like why? They could have 100% made it like... Imagine it was part of the story thing of like, no, you can do an all-out Viking raid, or, like, a good thing to do would just be, do it sneakily, not really bring attention to yourself. But it really feels like that's never...
I don't get it. Like, they've got this whole mechanic where it's like, oh, if you put on your cloak, you will start blending with people, but you're spotted, like, instantly. So it's like...
You can't walk past a guard at all.
No, you can't. So, like, what's the point? Like, and there's not enough people where... I don't know. That's the part that irritated me. And when I started seeing that the game was, like, leaning more and more into combat, I was like, this combat is not good enough for me to invest 60 hours into it. So I was just like, you know what? I've got Spider-Man, I've got Demon Souls, I'll maybe come back to Valhalla. You know what I actually started playing was Ghost of Tsushima, because I was like, I'm waiting for that. I'm needing that, like, Assassin's Creed, like, itch, and that is way better at giving me that.
That's the better Assassin's Creed game. Like, I'll agree with you. I think those two next to each other, Ghost of Tsushima is, like, hands down a better game.
And on PS5, that thing is smooth.
It's good.
Yeah.
Like I said, Valhalla is a great open world game, but it's just an open world game. Like, it's, I can't tell you, the story blew me away. Like, I actually quite liked Eivor. I thought...
Yeah, I think Eivor's cool. Eivor and Sigurd have a cool relationship.
Yeah. So, like, interesting game, but not my game of the year.
No, it's not. It's not there. So, and it's weird because when I started it, I was like, oh, cool. Okay. This is good. I'm, like, invested. And I think I've played, like, 10 to 15 hours, and now I just don't feel invested at all anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Sure.
It's fun. That prologue's real good. I enjoyed the prologue a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's games we've been playing. That's the last you'll hear from us this year.
Yeah, okay, bye.
Bye. So we've over an hour, but we still have stuff to do.
So we're not gonna do news and game releases, like Cyberpunk's out this week, whatever. Just a small indie game,
Just tiny
little game. So what we are going to do is, if you're listening to this on Monday, this coming Thursday is Jeff Keighley's Game Awards, which is like, to me, is like the indicator that the gaming year is over when that thing debuts. So I don't know. I thought, well, you suggested we go through some predictions for the award show. I mean, last year, you're muted, by the way.
Every time, every damn time.
Last year's award show was kind of insane. Like, they revealed the Xbox Series X at that event, which was wild. I can't actually remember much else that happened at that event.
Yeah, but there were things that happened.
I always blend them together. Like, I was like, 2 years ago they did Bayonetta 3, and it turns out that was 3 years ago.
Like 3 years ago,
yeah. So stuff like that. But Keighley always manages to sneak in some big announcements. So yeah, let's have fun. Let's see what we can get right and wrong.
I mean, shall we save the game of the year for last, probably? But let's maybe fly through some.
Okay, so first, what are your like one or two announcements outside of the
you mean
awards?
Actual game announcements?
What do you think will happen?
Shit, now I'm on the spot. I didn't even think about that. I thought we were just gonna do some nominees here. I
think we'll get a Ratchet and Clank release date.
Okay.
And
what else?
I think we'll see Microsoft's initiative project for the first time. So they've had this.
What's that?
The studio that they called the Initiative that's been working on the game for like 3 years, and they haven't revealed it.
But
there's more and more leaks coming out about it, and I think we'll get a reveal finally.
Oh boy!
I definitely think Microsoft has to show something in lieu of them saying, "Yeah, Halo Infinite's not going to be there." They've really, man. Every time I see a commercial for Xbox, there was one this week where it was like Master Chief playing with a dog. It's like, man, they really fucking thought Infinite was going to be out by now. And I feel super bad for them.
I mean, yeah.
Because they are getting, like, the Series X is a great console, but every time I hear someone talk about it, they're like, yeah, but like all I'm doing is playing games I've already played.
Existing games, yeah. And again, like we've said, PlayStation's got ample choice at the moment. It's like between
it's not even just like one good launch game. It's
Demon's
like good
Souls
variety.
Yeah. It's some stuff. Okay, I think that we will get if not just a trailer for Breath of the Wild 2, a release date for it.
Fuck yes.
I think that game's coming out next year.
I think so too. Yeah. Nintendo needs to start.
It's 2021. It'll be like 4 years since the first Breath of the Wild came out. I think that's ample time to, put together a really good sequel.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I don't think this will happen, but I'd love to see just a trailer or a tease for the next Final Fantasy 7 parts.
Oh, interesting. I thought you were going to say for 16.
No, I think 16 we've seen a trailer. We haven't seen gameplay, right?
No, there was gameplay in that trailer.
Yeah, but we haven't seen like actual. Here's the combat system, whatever. So maybe something Final Fantasy related. I think that'd be announced.
A part 2 stinger would be cool.
Yeah, like even just a cinematic setting up. Like we know what the story.
Maybe they're just so Aerith dying again.
No, don't do that. But yeah, those are, I'd say, two cool announcements I'd love to see.
Okay.
Breath of the Wild 2, though, man, I need that game in my life.
Oh God, yeah.
Okay,
especially because I guess I played a little bit of the Age of Calamity. Game's fun.
Oh yeah,
game's
good
cool.
Time.
Story's weird, but game's fun.
Did you pick up your game because you played the demo, or did you start again?
No, I started again because I couldn't remember how the combat worked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just murdered moblins.
Moblin Murder Simulator. That's what that game is. We'll save Game of the Year for last, but maybe let's just run down this list.
And I don't think we need to go through all the esports shit.
Oh, what are you talking about? We've got esport predictions. No, I'm kidding. We don't have
There's so many esports awards as well.
So many. Okay. So best game direction. Do you have the website open?
Oh, sorry. Let me do that.
You just do your thing, but I can read these out for you so long. So best game direction awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. We have Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, and Last of Us Part 2. See, it's actually very difficult doing this, and I regret suggesting it because now when I'm down to it, I'm like, I don't know. It's so good. Like, so awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. Like, immediately I'm drawn to the likes of, say, Hades, because I think that just stands out as something very different. But then I'm also like, Ghost of Tsushima looked pretty AF, you know, feudal Japan and those beautiful tree colors and the wind and everything, super nice. But I haven't played Half-Life Alyx, so I can't really comment there.
Yeah.
And obviously, The Last of Us Part 2, just visually, what a game.
Yeah, I'm
Same for
I'm
the
torn
7
here
remake.
because like when I read this category, it's like, yes, it's like a visual direction and a game direction. So I'm thinking of like the actual design. And when I think of those two, it's between like Hades and Half-Life Alyx for me, because like Hades found a way to develop like a persistent story that incorporates the roguelike elements of the game, which is really clever. And then Alex just like, you know, set the bar for like cinematic VR games. Yeah. Just like Half-Life 2 or like Half-Life was the benchmark for narrative first-person shooters. It does the same thing.
Well, I think let's just remember that it's not games that we want to win; it's games that we think will.
That's true.
Will win. So, like, I don't know. In this category, I think at the way I feel at the moment, I'd probably lean into Hades. And I don't know. I almost feel like it might win. I think Hades is like this game that came out of nowhere, and it's actually been spoken about by plenty people. So I would love to see it win in this category.
I actually think Ghost of Tsushima is going to win.
You reckon?
Even though I don't think out of these nominees it is the one I would pick to win, but I think it will win. I think the one that I would like to win that won't will be Half-Life Alyx for sure.
Okay.
I think Half-Life Alyx is going to get fucking snubbed hard. I mean, the fact that it's not even nominated for Game of the Year is already like really irritating. But yeah. Anyway.
Okay. I'm actually going to I'm making a spreadsheet here quickly. I want to keep track of this. Hang on. So this is you, Alessandro.
So I think
Matty.
I think Ghost of Tsushima.
So you saying Ghost of Tsushima, I'm saying Hades. And I'll come back to this at some stage. And between you and I, we can see who actually won.
Next,
best narrative.
Best narrative between
outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game.
Between 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. I really need to play this. Loads of people keep talking about this.
I have no idea what this game even is. I must look into it.
I think it's like a turn-based anime game.
Okay.
Yeah. Then we've got... So you're going to be hearing these 4 names a lot.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Last of Us Part 2. I think this one's easy for me.
It's Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to win as well. Okay. Like, I don't see any other game coming close to that in terms of the votes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Look, I think I agree with you in that I 100% think it's going to be The Last of Us 2, but like I personally can see merits for others, but hands down, Last of Us 2 will be
like I'm like I like the story in Hades, and you know, Final Fantasy VII Remake is a classic, but Ghost of Tsushima didn't really affect me. Well, I haven't finished it all, but it didn't really affect me in the same way.
No, narrative wise, I think it's like one of the weaker entries, like personally compared to the others.
But yeah, Last of Us Part 2 was a real risk in so many ways. So I don't see it losing. Like I really don't see it losing.
Okay. Best art direction for outstanding creative and or technical achievements in artistic design and animation.
This one's hard.
Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, The Last of Us Part 2.
Jesus.
And good Lord, this is a hard one for sure, because like, I mean, I think anyone who knows me would say like, I'd probably default to Ori and the Will of the Wisps, purely because like that game is a work of art. But as I've mentioned before, like Ghost of Tsushima, for example, is such a beautiful rendition of like feudal Japan. Final Fantasy VII Remake has no business looking as good as it does on a PS4
Definitely
and running that well. And then like the I don't know if I mentioned Hades. Hades is just dope as shit. Like,
yeah,
I love
Hades
the
has
art
just got
style.
such a distinct style to it.
Like
yeah.
a real. And then The Last of Us Part 2 is just, it's that realism and that
Technical
whole,
tour de force.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's, oh my gosh, this is a,
because
is
they
a tricky
combine
category.
technical and creative, which they should. Because I
Yeah.
always hated it when awards are like technical art direction and creative art direction. It's like it's the same thing. Fuck, I don't know.
I don't know. I have to think that I would love, like, purely because it's not nominated in many other categories, I'd love to see Ori win. But I have to think, like you pointed out, the fact that it's a combination of creative and technical achievement, like The Last of Us.
Yeah,
I think
The Last of Us takes
snag
it. Yeah.
this one. Yeah,
to me
breaks my heart.
To me, it would
'cause this
probably
is
be between Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us.
Yeah. It really breaks my heart, actually, because these games are all phenomenal.
They all are
they're
so
all-
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely could see a case where like Ori wins. Like if Ori wins, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
It makes sense.
Actually, any of these games winning would make sense
Ori,
to me.
if you can take a screenshot of any part of Ori and it's like a work of art. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, there's that much detail.
The fluidity to that game,
Yeah.
like
It's too good.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm sticking with The Last of Us too. I just think if they look at the technical and creative side combined, then yeah.
I'm trying to think.
That thing on a PS4 is just insane.
I think Ghost of Tsushima is going to win.
You think Ghost of Tsushima? Okay,
The
I'm changing your vote
whole
here.
like color and stuff of that game, like yeah, I think it's going to win.
Okay. Best score and music. See, this is another tricky one.
So it's outstanding music, inclusive of score, original song, or licensed soundtrack. So this has Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Hades, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and The Last of Us 2.
Again, really difficult category. So just from my experience, I mean, so The Last of Us Part 2, I think I haven't gone and listened to the soundtrack at all. Like, while I played the game, like, really good score. But I'm thinking of music that I listened to long after the fact, like what left the biggest impression on me. And in this category, I can't say Doom Eternal, like, because I appreciate it with the game, but I can't really listen to that music in isolation.
I haven't listened to that soundtrack like I listen still to this day to the 2016 one. To me, it's not on the same level.
But Final Fantasy VII Remake, Hades, and Ori, I'm like, shit. It's difficult because Hades, like, I don't know. I just think of them all, and I'm like, oh my god, they're so good. But for me, it's between Final Fantasy VII Remake and Ori, because Ori is just Gareth Coker being
he's incredible.
Gareth Coker.
Yeah.
He just puts together such incredible music, and that it like really sticks with you forever.
And he's doing the soundtrack to Halo Infinite, which has me so stoked. Yeah,
that's awesome. But then Final Fantasy VII Remake is so interesting because it takes existing music, like existing songs, and it just, I mean, I don't know if you've from what you've played of the game, I don't know how far how far along you have to be to listen to, most of the soundtrack, but the music throughout this game is like astounding.
Yeah,
They've taken,
it is.
It's not even a thing of like they remade one song. They take a song and they give it different forms depending on like the boss you're fighting, what's happening in the battle, and it's just insane.
I mean, the earliest example of that is just at the beginning, before you've even faced the Scorpion tank, you hear that the Shinra music, and it's been remixed in a way where it's like way slowed down. The tempo is much slower, but you can still hear that distinct rhythm to it. It's really something.
What's really cool is that even throughout the soundtrack, there are some instances where there are 2 or 3 songs like overlapped with each other.
Yeah.
You'll be fighting a Turk, you'll be like, oh, I hear the Turk theme. Oh, wait, I hear the Shinra theme. Oh, wait, there's also this theme. And it's like, how did they do that?
Yeah.
So
no, it is incredible.
Man. I
think Remake's going to win.
I'll say I'm leaning towards Remake for this one. As much as I love Ori,
I want Hades to win because I've been listening to Darren Korb's soundtrack even before Hades was out, because he had been putting out music as it was in early access. Yeah, and it's just such a phenomenal. I mean, I've loved all of his soundtracks. I listen to all 4 of them pretty regularly. So, but I think out of these, I think Remake is the one that wins.
Yeah. Okay. What is next? I'm not muted, am I?
Nope. You sound good to me.
Because I copy pasted and I push control, which is my mute. Oh my god, best audio design.
Okay, so this is different. So this is best in-game audio and sound design. So we've got Doom Eternal, Half-Life Alyx, Ghost of Tsushima, Resident Evil 3, The Last of Us Part 2. I really wish it had come out in time because Demon Souls would have fucking annihilated this this category. The sound design in that is just something else.
It's really good, yeah. It's super satisfying. Ghost of Tsushima is like samurai ASMR. But then, like, look, Resident Evil 3, as much as I enjoyed the game, I can't say that it stood out for me.
I don't really remember it for, like, its exceptional audio design.
Yeah. Last of Us Part 2, you did a whole article on the
I think that's what wins you. Like,
you reckon?
I don't even think it's a competition. Half-Life Alyx is a good game, but I don't think it stands out audio design-wise, and the same goes for Doom Eternal.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. Easily wins this category.
Now we get to best performance.
I mean, think about The Last of Us Part 2 when you're in the forest and you hear the what are they called? The scars. The first time with that whistle. I mean,
it's jarring as shit.
That alone.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, next we have best performance, and even this category.
This is hard.
Oh my god. Why do we do this to ourselves? Okay, look. Right at the gates, I played Ghost of Tsushima in Japanese.
Wait. So we should say this is best performance awarded to an individual for voiceover acting, motion, and performance capture.
Performance capture, yes. And there are 2 Last of Us. So we've got Ashley Johnson as Ellie, Laura Bailey as Abby. I'm going to butcher this name. Daisuke Shuji as Jin Sakai. And then Logan Cunningham as Hades.
I like that they had to choose one character because Logan Cunningham voices so many characters in Hades.
Yeah. And then I'm probably butchering this name as well, but Naji Jetta as Miles Morales.
Very good. He was exceptionally good.
So yeah, I played Ghost of Tsushima with the Japanese audio track. So I can't say that I know how Jin was.
I played with the English because it links up with the animation.
Yeah,
I think Jin's very good.
Yeah, I've heard he is good.
Yeah, I think it's very good VO English. It keeps the feel of the character. It doesn't feel like a British voice actor,
Yeah.
Voice acting as a Japanese character. So Logan Cunningham, I think, is phenomenal. He's been the narrator in Bastion. He was the sword in Transistor. I think Hades, he's exceptional as Hades. It just shows his range because it's really, really good. I actually think, to me, the standout voice in Hades is actually Darren Korb, who voices Zagreus. Which is crazy to me because the way he talks and sings sounds nothing like Zagreus.
Nothing the same, yeah. I don't know, but then we've got Ashley Johnson as Ellie and Laura Bailey as Abby, and those were both like standout performances.
I think Laura Bailey wins.
I think Laura Bailey as Abby.
Abby is...
She was actually a really standout character in that game. Yeah,
she is. I mean, Ellie is phenomenal, and Ashley Johnson brings a lot of weight to Ellie. But like Abby through and through is just really the emotional crux of that game. And I think Laura Bailey does a phenomenal job as her. So I think it's between them two, to be honest.
Yeah, I also think so. Like as much as I appreciate Logan Cunningham as Hades, I do think that these two are definitely the ones to
I wouldn't be surprised if either wins, but I think Laura Bailey will win.
Yeah. It's like a rivalry, just like the game. Okay, games for impact. I can't say that I've played. I've played Spiritfarer.
I've only played Spiritfarer out of here, so it's difficult to say.
If you want to throw out just a random guess.
Yeah, so these are thought-provoking games with a pro-social meaning or message. I know a lot of people loved If Found. Got a lot of critics that I follow that I respect who spoke very, very fondly of If Found. Kentucky Route Zero the same way, like it's a game that's been around for many years and finally got concluded this year, so I can see that. Spiritfarer is phenomenal.
It's such a good game.
I think it's just such a clever way of a game that copes with death in a very interesting way. Tell me why I haven't played. And Through the Darkest Ages I haven't played. So I don't know. I could see Kentucky Route Zero or Spiritfarer winning here. And I think Kentucky Route Zero is going to win.
Okay. You can take Kentucky. I'm just going with Spiritfarer purely because that's the one I've played.
Fair.
Kentucky.
Then we've got Best Ongoing Game, awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. So we've got Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Call of Duty Warzone, Fortnite, or No Man's Sky.
See, it's tricky because I can't say I've actively played any of these games, but I do know, like just watching from the sidelines, how they've been supported over the year. And like, if I think about it now, off the top of my mind, Fortnite, for example, has Kratos. It's just like
it's going to be Fortnite. It has to be
the weirdest thing.
It has to be Fortnite. Like every other game on this list, I can note like a problem. Like Apex Legends being going well, but they always have problems with their battle pass. Like people always feel like it's grindy. Destiny 2's latest expansion I don't feel like I've heard the sort of like wave of praise that normally comes with an expansion.
Yeah.
Warzone is Warzone. It's a battle royale. It's cool. It had a cool Halloween event, and No Man's Sky had some cool stuff. They added like the like horror aspects and the living ships, and like they keep continually adding to their game, but I don't think anything's as culturally resonant as Fortnite. Like they just wrapped up their whole Marvel stuff. They you said, they got Kratos and the fucking Mandalorian in there now. Like
just the crossover stuff alone, like that's almost incentive enough for people like me who have no intention of playing Fortnite to go like, maybe I
played a game of Fortnite the other day just because I wanted to see the Mandalorian. Like that's the only reason I played it.
Mission accomplished. And can we just take a moment to appreciate that No Man's Sky here, given that when it launched, it was a hot mess and it got so much flack.
I installed it on my PS5 because I wanted to see that PS5 upgrade, and it's really good. It's smooth. It's beautiful. They've really turned that game around through loads of free content updates. I really don't know how that studio's making money, but
they're doing something.
It's fantastic. I think Fortnite wins this hands down. Not even a question.
I've got my money on Fortnite. Now the next category.
Best Indie for outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publisher system. So there's games here that I think should be in other categories as well. Like
absolutely.
Like Fall Guys should be.
I'm shocked that Fall Guys hasn't been nominated more because this game
should be in Best Ongoing. I don't understand why it's not there.
It's lacking definitely.
Spelunky 2 should be in game design, like and direction. I don't know why it's not there. But I think all 5 of these games are phenomenal. You've got
really strong.
Carry On, which I thought was really fun. It's like that monster, the thing simulator. Got Fall Guys, got Hades, Spelunky 2, and Spiritfarer. And you could add on another 5 games to this category. This year for indies has just been outstanding. Really good.
My money though, where's your money? I know
Hades.
where my money is. It's Hades.
Like, put it this way, Hades is the only one out of this category that's nominated for Game of the Year as well. So it would make no sense if something else wins here and then it wasn't nominated for Best Game of the Year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it has to be Hades. Like,
I mean, and again, a lot of these categories are difficult. Like, I'd love to see Fall Guys get some kind of recognition this year.
Same
Even
with Spelunky too.
I haven't played Spelunky, but I know you and others absolutely love it. So, but I mean, that's the point. Game of the Year stuff. It's it's meant to be
meant to be hard. Yeah, I think Hades for sure.
I've just got my money in Hades. Best mobile game. I mean,
so this is weird. So obviously mobile game, but you've got Among Us, Call of Duty Mobile, Genshin Impact, Legends of Runeterra, Pokemon Cafe Mix. Now, Among Us, I can understand not being nominated elsewhere because it came out actually like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Genshin Impact is weird that it's not nominated elsewhere. Like it's only nominated in Best Mobile. It should also be in Best Ongoing, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because like culturally, that game has just been
massive,
huge. I think I think, I feel like this is the category where they'd give Among Us an award just because it's Among Us, even though it's not the best experience on a mobile.
Yeah.
And I think Genshin Impact should win here because it is the same game on mobile and works really well on mobile.
Works really well. Yeah, it's tricky because I hear you on Genshin Impact, but I also feel that I know Among Us came out a while ago, but there are so many people who love this game and played it on mobile.
But that's the thing. I think it's going to bleed into this. It's not really the category.
Yeah.
It's like, Among Us is cool. Let's just give it an award. Yeah.
So what are you going with? Genshin or Among Us?
I think Genshin still holds a good possibility of winning here. Even though my gut is telling me that this is where Among Us wins something.
Yeah. Okay, I've gone with Among Us. Put you down for Genshin.
Fun.
Next category. Best community support, recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness, inclusive of social media activity and game updates and patches. I mean, I can tell you where my money is here.
So we've got Apex, Destiny 2, Fall Guys, Fortnite, No Man's Sky, and Valorant.
I mean,
I think it's a toss-up between Fortnite and Fall Guys.
I really think it's Fall Guys purely because their social media game is like...
Their social media game is on point, Oh my God.
It's like the best. I'd say, like, I honestly think their social media management deserves awards, like, outside of the Game Awards. Like, they really have been on fire with just, like, leading into cultural stuff and just keeping fans engaged. I mean, it's like, just for argument's sake, let's look at I'm going to pull up their numbers. So this is just a small indie game, right? With a casual 1.5 million followers on Twitter.
Oh, casual, just casual.
Which is like insane. If you given that, I don't think there are 1.5 million people, not 1.5 million concurrent players in the game, but there are that many people following because the content is just so good. So I don't know. But
their social media, I mean, they've, even if you're not playing the game, you can get excited about like new skins coming to the game because of the way they tease them. There was that whole debacle of the Fall Guy anatomy, which is fucking creepy. But it's like it all comes through community management and social media, and I think they are top notch considering they're an indie studio as well. I think they deserve it. Whether they get it,
I don't know. Are you going with Fortnite again? Fortnite?
I think Fortnite's going to win again.
You think Fortnite? I think Apex also has got a...
Yeah, Apex has a strong chance there.
Pretty strong possibility in this
Fall Guys
category.
should win here.
I think Fall Guys should win. Best VR, I know.
Half-Life
I know
Alyx.
your money is.
That's not even a question. Look, you've got
Yeah,
Iron
obviously.
Man VR, Star Wars Squadrons, Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners. If anything but Half-Life Alyx wins here, it would be a crime. Like, there's no VR game that holds a candle to it at the moment.
Yeah, I can't say I've played any of these, but based on what you've said, what others have said, I think Half-Life Alyx will win this.
Has to win this.
And also, fun fact, I did not know that there was a Walking Dead VR game.
Apparently, it's very good. Saints and Sinners is apparently very good. I've heard some great things about it, but yeah, Half-Life Alyx is one of the best VR games, or the best VR game I've ever played. So yeah, I don't see it losing.
Okay, next category, innovation in accessibility, recognizing software and or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. So we have Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Grounded, Hyperroot, The Last of Us... is that a D? Sorry, it looked like an O. Hyperdot, The Last of Us Part 2, and Watch Dogs Legion.
It's very cool that firstly this is an award, and also that the games here aren't just indie games. They're, you've got two Ubisoft games, you've got Naughty Dog, and you've got Obsidian. So it shows like big publishers and big developers have finally cottoned on to the fact that there should be settings in games that help them be playable to a wider range of gamers. So that's cool in itself. I think The Last of Us 2 wins here.
I also think, because I think it's almost funny how...
That was it felt like the inflection point. Like people were like,
it feels like that happened and then everyone else followed.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's the case because maybe.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think, Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs definitely had it planned already. But like the range of options in, The Last of Us 2, there was a big deal made out of it at launch by people within the community like Steven Spoon. really praising Naughty Dog for going out of their way. So yeah, I definitely think it's that one.
Okay. Next up, oh boy, best action. For the best game in the action genre focused primarily on combat, we have Doom Eternal, Hades, Half-Life Alyx 2, Nioh 2, and Streets of Rage 4. So now, I love Hades, and I think Doom Eternal, like I wouldn't say it's like my game of the year, but I can acknowledge that this game does what it does very well. Like it is a pinnacle first-person shooter, particularly in the action department. So for me, it's between Doom Eternal and Hades.
I think Doom Eternal is going to win.
You reckon Doom Eternal?
This is where it wins.
It's so polished, yeah.
I want Hades to win because I think its combat is unreal. And I've heard equally good things about Nioh 2, even though I haven't played it. Not sure why Half-Life Alyx is here, because it's a shooter, but it's a VR shooter, so it's still a bit weird and clunky.
It's not like action focused.
Yeah, it's not. I wouldn't put it at the pinnacle of action games for the year.
Yeah,
but yeah, okay. I would want Hades to win, but I think Doom.
Wins, also Hades is like in my head. I'm like, it's so good, but Doom just does it so well.
This next category is ridiculous. I can't even.
God. Best action/adventure. For the best action/adventure game combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. The nominees: Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Ghost of Tsushima, Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Remember that game?
Yeah, I remember that game.
The Last of Us Part 2. Oh my gosh, this is a category. Holy hell.
So I think Last of Us is going to win here, but I don't think it should.
Yeah, like I'm with you. So the reason I don't think it should win is purely because, like, if I think of sort of like an open world space or areas you can revisit, again, like, I don't know, The Last of Us to me is like while there are open areas to explore, it's still like a linear pushing you down a tunnel to the end of the game sort of thing. Whereas the others are like that too, but they feel more like far more open, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I don't know why The Last of Us Part 2 is excluded from Best Action. Because I think
that should have been there.
Yeah, I think it's all combat sandboxes are really cleverly designed, where they feel like they almost feel like a scripted like cutscene, but they're not. But at the same time, I agree with you. I don't think that's the core of the game. Like there is puzzle solving.
No. Yeah.
Like the
puzzle solving is like throwing a rope.
Yeah, like the tech behind that rope, fucking incredible. Like
great.
Really incredible. But I wouldn't call it taxing puzzle solving. And really I find the action and the puzzle solving in service of the draw of the game, and that it's it's narrative. I don't think it's primarily an action game or an adventure game. Fallen Order is good. I still think it's a really good game.
I love Fallen Order, but
I don't think it wins here. Yeah. I don't think Valhalla wins here either. Purely for the reasons we spoke about earlier in the podcast. I think its combat is fine, and I think its stealth is non-existent. So like, I just don't. Sure, the other three though, they are tough. Three. Ghost of Tsushima, Miles, and Ori.
Ori. I mean, personally, I'd love to see Ori win because, like I've said, I feel this game deserves some kind of recognition.
I could see Ori winning here.
I mean, it's so good. Like the traversal and just the combat itself, how they reinvented it for this game, where it's not you just spamming, X, whatever the button is to, shoot your spirit fire, whatever it's called. You literally have like a melee weapon, and you can equip other stuff. I don't know, it's so good. But then, like you've pointed out, Miles Morales, the combat as well.
Yeah, the combat is really so clever.
Good balance of like building up your I can't remember what it's called, your
Venometer,
your Venometer, and then deploying it to then Ghost of Tsushima is like this intense one-on-one or like 1v many.
Yeah, playing that on lethal mode has really changed my perspective on the combat in the game. And it's really something.
What I think I'd love Ori to win personally, but what I think will win might be, I'm feeling Ghost of Tsushima. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't played Miles Morales, so I can't, make a case for it.
I think,
but in my head, Yeah, the traversal and just the exploration in Ghost as well complements the combat so nicely.
I think Miles will win,
But,
yeah.
I don't know.
Put me
You think
down for Miles, yeah. That combat is just something else. It's really...
You know what? I'm gonna put Ori. Screw it.
Go for it.
Ori for the win.
I could see Ori winning. Like, if Ori wins, I would not be surprised.
I'd be so chuffed.
I think
it's a
knowing the panel
though.
of judges and knowing... I mean, if I just look at the nominees, I can kind of see the gist of, like, what people are kind of getting at here. I think Miles wins for sure, yeah.
Okay.
Best role-playing game. This is a
best
fucking nightmare. This is a nightmare. For the best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences. So we've got Final Fantasy VII Remake, got Genshin Impact, Persona 5 Royale, Wasteland 3, and Yakuza Like a Dragon.
I can tell you that I would love Final Fantasy VII Remake to win, but I know you're a Persona 5 fan.
Yeah, Persona 5 Royal is... I mean, it's weird though, because like Persona 5 I feel like had its day in the sun, and Royal is... Yes, it's like additional content, but it doesn't change the core of the game. So,
yeah.
Like, and the core of the game is still probably one of the best JRPGs ever made, but yeah, I don't know.
I'm putting my money on Final Fantasy VII Remake. That I think just the fact that they reinvented, they bought that old turn-based system and they made it like live action, basically. If that makes sense. It's like a good combination of the two, where it's still kind of turn-based, but it isn't. It's so fluid. I just love it. But I mean, that's literally the only game I've played from these 5. So
I think that will win, but for the sake of being contrarian, I'm going to put my money on Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Yakuza, like I don't know how good that.
I don't think like
is.
Genshin Impact is cool, but I don't think it's a great role-playing experience.
Yeah,
I don't actually know why it's here.
Because numbers, the damage numbers. That's
but it's
why.
not role. Okay,
I know. Best fighting game. For the best game designed primarily around head-to-head combat, we have Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate.
Why is Street Fighter here?
Street Fighter 5 Champion Edition, One Punch Man, a hero nobody knows.
You know what irritates me about this category is that it was mentioned on the Bombcast, Giant Bombs podcast, who you know they have Jason A. Stryker and Jeff Gertzman, who are big fighting game aficionados. Same with Jan Ochoa and Ben Pack. Like, they follow Evo, they play, they follow the competitive scene. And they were saying that this list is a list made by people who do not follow that scene. And it's 100% true, because there are games here that were on Evo's shortlist, to be played before it was cancelled, that aren't even nominated. Like, come on, man. So dumb.
Yeah,
I don't know why Street Fighter's here. That's all. And One Punch. Like, they are bad games.
But Mortal Kombat 11 also shouldn't be here. Did that come out this year?
No, it's just like the ultimate version of Mortal Kombat. Like, and Mortal Kombat's fun, but it's like fun for me from a perspective where I'm not even that good at fighting games. I just like the story mode. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I know that Under Night in Birth was at Evo, I think, and that was like an Arxis game that looked really good. I know there was a game, like an indie fighting game called Them's Fighting Herds, which was like My Little Pony, but a fighting game that was going to be at Evo and is apparently really good. Wow. So, like, why is that not here? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
I think the one that will win will be Mortal Kombat, just because that's the one that critics have played.
I also think, that's like what critics will vote for.
Yeah, because I don't think the critics have played anything else, to be fairly honest. So, whatever. That category irritates me so much.
So, next up, best family game. For the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform, we have Animal Crossing, New Horizons, Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, Fall Guys, Ultimate Knockout, Mario Kart Live, Home Circuit, Minecraft Dungeons, and Paper Mario, The Origami King.
Animal Crossing is about loans. It's not a family game. No, I'm joking.
It's about loans, but out of this category, I'm like, it's the one that, I don't know.
Home Circuit is seriously the one, though. Like, man, we've got to give it something, because that game is fun for like 10 minutes, and then you wonder why you spent 2,500 Rand on it.
Oh, Mario Kart.
I appreciate the effort and the thought, and I love the whole like idea of making your own tracks in AR and whatever. But it is, in my view, not worth that the buy-in like at all.
I really enjoyed Paper Mario: The Origami King, but I don't see it as a like when I think of family game, it's a thing of it's like parents sitting down playing with their kids or just families in general playing together. And like Paper Mario is really good, but I don't know, it seems maybe a little bit complex to be sitting down and playing in a family setting. I don't know.
I think Minecraft Dungeons was really good at
like split screen. I mean,
like shade screen, like simplifying the Diablo formula. I mean, Shani got into it. She played a bunch with me.
Yeah,
she was quite enjoying that kind of like rigmarole. So I could see that competing. I could see Fall Guys competing here for sure.
Yeah.
I don't see Crash Bandicoot winning this.
Yeah, Crash Bandicoot 4 is hard, man. If you make your kids play
hard.
that,
Holy
you're
shit.
a bad parent.
I mean, I can see kids playing that, but I just don't see it as a family play game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same with Animal Crossing. Like,
yeah, Animal Crossing, like I'm trying to think of things you could play almost together. Like, I know that's not what the category is about, but
although I still see it winning just because it's Animal Crossing.
Yeah, it's Animal Crossing. That's the thing. Although I hear you with Minecraft Dungeons, that's the thing. Like, hey, get the family together. We're all going to play on the same screen, you know.
And same with Fall Guys, like
Fall
swapping
Guys,
controller. Or something like that.
You can, hot swap.
I think Animal Crossing is going to win this category, but it definitely doesn't. It just feels oddly placed here.
It feels a bit oddly placed here.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to go with Animal Crossing. I tend to agree with you, but I'm going to go with.
I feel like there's no category you can put Animal Crossing in, so they just put it in here. You know what I mean? Because they're like, it definitely should be in the Game of the Year category for sure. But like, they can't put it under action. They can't put it under role playing. They can't put. So they're like, okay, family game.
Family game.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm going to just put down Minecraft Dungeons for myself.
Okay.
How many categories do we have left?
Best sim or strategy. There's so few of each that they combined the two. So best game focused on.
Although, wait, before you say that, that's actually incorrect because I was having a chat with John Michael. I was like, because he's been loving Crusader Kings, right? So I was like,
love his anecdotes.
Don't forget to vote for that game. And he was like, why are best sim and strategy combined? I was like, because there's not enough games. He's like, no, there really are. And he proceeded to like list a bunch. I was like, oh, you're actually right. They are ample for both categories.
I actually think they just combined the two so they could nominate Flat Sim. Because that's the only simulator in this category. So it says best game focused on real-time or turn-based simulation or strategy gameplay. And we've got Crusader Kings 3, Desperados 3, Gears Tactics, Flight Simulator, or XCOM Chimera Squad. Now, I'm going to put on my judge's hat and think about the games that the judges actually played. That's definitely not Desperados, definitely not Crusader Kings, or maybe, Microsoft. I don't know. It's Gears Tactics or it's XCOM. Actually,
I don't know. I see Microsoft Flight Sim also coming in here because
could you imagine the fucking scenes? Like, it's a great.
Oh my god!
I don't know.
I'm putting my money there just because in terms of simulation, I know it's the only one in the category.
I'm going to put money on Crusader Kings because I actually do recall there being a lot of hubbub about it during its review embargo lifting.
Okay. I'm going with Flight Sim.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Best sports racing game for the best traditional and non-traditional. I love how they say for the best traditional and non-traditional sports and racing game because the nominees are Dirt 5, Formula 1 2020, FIFA 21, NBA 2K21, and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2.
Tony Hawk wins this.
Tony Hawk's winning this. Like, I'm not even going to... that's why I love that they put their non-traditional sports because it's like, well, we need to make sure Tony Hawk is,
Formula 1 2020 is still the great game that it is every single year, and it definitely deserves more accolades, but it's also Formula 1, so it's extremely niche.
Misses out, yeah.
Dirt 5, I don't think really blew many people away. FIFA's FIFA, NBA is NBA, and FIFA. I think everyone was like, yeah, Tony Hawk, it's remade, it's pretty good. It's definitely winning that category.
Time. Yeah. Okay. Best multiplayer game for outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design.
Why is Animal Crossing?
Massively multiplayer experiences, irrespective of game genre platform. So we have Animal Crossing, Among Us, Call of Duty Warzone, Fall Guys, Ultimate Knockout, and Valorant.
Animal Crossing. When love visiting islands, but fuck that multiplayer is a mess.
For outstanding online multiplayer gameplay design, get out of here.
Get
Animal
out of here.
Crossing is
No.
like very dated.
It has got
regard.
multiplayer functionality, and that's the best thing I
Yeah.
can say about it.
Yeah.
Christ, I hate visiting other people's islands in that game just because I have to deal with the airport. It is
I
so
know.
frustrating.
It's so annoying. But
This is Among Us.
Warzone, Ultimate Knockout, Valorant. Look, I think Valorant's great, but I don't think it stands up against Among Us and Fall Guys in this category. Although, like, Warzone's Warzone. It's got a big player base. People love it.
Warzone's Warzone. I think it's Fall Guys and Among Us here, and I think this is, if they haven't awarded Among Us anything yet, this is where they get an award in, yeah.
I think, it has to be Among Us.
Yeah.
I'm also going with Among Us.
I think this is the last two before we get to esports, which we will skip.
Which we can just skip. Content Creator of the Year. And Best Debut Game. I mean, this feels weird now because Alana Pierce isn't a content creator anymore. She's been hired as a writer at Sony Santa Monica, so odd. I mean, that was a recent thing though. So
she did a lot of content. I mean, she has been a phenomenal content creator for years now that I've followed. So I personally, I really like her. I do know that I only learnt of Tim the Tatman this year because of Fall Guys, and watching him get that first win was kind of amazing. It was really something else.
I've known of Tim the Tatman purely because of his engagements with Dr. Disrespect.
Okay.
Like they've got they're friends, whatever. So they often pop up in each other's streams, whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, I think the only people I actually know in this category, like you said, Alana Pierce and Tim the Tatman. I don't know who J. Ann Lopez is. I don't know Valkyrie. I've heard of Valkyrie, but I don't know what she does. And Nick Merckx I've heard of, but I don't know what he does.
Yeah, I don't know any of those three, so I can't really speak to them. So, yeah, I don't know.
I think Alana might.
I think Alana will win. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alana's very popular, so I'm
pretty sure though that she got a job at
Sony Santa Monica. Yeah, as a writer. Very cool. She's living the dream, man. Australian, going to America, worked for IGN, then worked for Rooster Teeth, now writing at a game studio. Seems cool.
Yeah. Best debut game.
So for the best debut game created by an independent studio, so we've got Carrion, got Mortal Shell, Raji and Ancient Epic, Roki, or Phasmophobia.
I mean, it's
Phasmophobia, isn't it?
I would think Phasmophobia purely because of like the cultural impact, the fact that it was like part of the zeitgeist for a good while, and I think it still is in some regard. I think Mortal Shell is great because it's a Souls-like that made by an independent studio.
And pretty good apparently.
Yeah, apparently it's really good. But I think Phasmophobia, just because it's been spoken about plenty.
Yeah, I think that's what wins as well. Yeah, I really like Carrion, but it did feel like I've played it. It was cool, and then it left my mind not long after that.
It just left. Okay, so Phasmophobia for that, and the rest are it's esports. Esports not gonna
fuck that shit. Okay, last one, Game of the Year.
Game of the Year,
because we are approaching 2 hours.
Okay, so this is game that we think will win, not what we want to win.
Yeah, although I will give what I want to win.
I know what you want to win.
Recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. We've got Doom Eternal, not sure what that's Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Animal Crossing New Horizons, The Last of Us Part 2. So, I would trade Doom Eternal for Half-Life Alyx here, but that's just me.
What wins though? What wins? So I know what you would want to win. I won't say it unless you.
I actually think what I want to win will win. Hades. I actually do think it will win. Yeah.
I also can see it being an absolute surprise, standing up against these other games. Like, I almost think that The Last of Us Part 2 will walk away with it purely because...
I think it's between those two, to be fairly honest.
Yeah, because The Last of Us Part 2 is shit. Like, it is a technical marvel and a phenomenal game, like, hands down. Animal Crossing, it's funny, I wouldn't be surprised if this also just came out of nowhere to win purely because it's Animal Crossing and it hits at the right time.
Yeah, that's also true. It touched a lot of people in a way, that I guess even Nintendo didn't expect.
It's so funny because I was talking to Lenska about choosing Game of the Year, and I spoke about this category specifically, and I said I've been very fortunate that this year I've actually played every game. And then I started listing out why I enjoy all of these games, and by the end of it is like, but which one wins? Like, which one do you actually choose? Like, I can tell you, okay, Doom Eternal's probably the weaker entry for me. Like, while I enjoyed it, I can acknowledge it's, like I said earlier, it's a pinnacle first-person shooter. It does what it does very well.
Yeah.
Like, it's an all-out injection of like pure action. What I also enjoyed, but I don't think will win, is Ghost of Tsushima. I can appreciate it for what it did. Really good open world game. It looks beautiful. The art style, we've said, is just, it's so colorful and vivid, and it's really beautiful to look at and play. But then I'm left with like Final Fantasy VII Remake, which, like I've said in this podcast plenty times when I played it back in the day, a couple of months ago, it's like they took one of my favorite childhood games and they didn't just remake it. They like really, really from the ground up just did everything so perfectly. Like from the cinematics to the combat, it's just perfect. Like I absolutely love this game.
Yeah.
But then we move on to Hades, and I'm like, Hades, up within, I don't know, a month or 3 weeks, I put 60 hours into this game. I did however many runs, and I just could not stop playing it, and I'm still itching to go back and play it. The only reason I've stopped is because I had other review games come in, you know. Animal Crossing, it's Animal Crossing. Like we said, it came out at the right time, and it was such a thing of like, hey, I'm going to wake up every morning, just quickly do some stuff before work. Okay, cool. Let me check my turnip prices. Shit, it's a bad price. Let me see if anyone else has good prices.
For months we were doing that, yeah.
Yeah, like it was for a long time. We were playing Animal Crossing, and I did put 100+ hours into this game where it's literally you just designing your island. Like ultimately, there's no real purpose other than you just creating a happy space for yourself, you know? And then The Last of Us Part 2 is just, I mean, we've spoken about it at length on this podcast and before. It's like it's a milestone in games and what they can be. Like it not only told the story, it did it on the PlayStation 4, which is like a 7-year-old console, and it made a game look this good.
Yeah.
Like it's unreal that this game exists today. So I don't know. It's such a hard choice.
It is. It is a hard choice.
For them.
There's definitely space for more games in this category. I think
for sure.
Limiting it to 6 is like hard.
Okay, but you're going with Hades.
Yeah, I'm going with Hades, but I think Last of Us 2 could win. But I think Hades will win. I think it will be the feel-good story of the show.
Yeah, I must say, having played the game and watched the No Clip documentary, I would love for Hades to win, because it is, and not to take away from any of the other shooters by any means, but the fact that Hades is like, it's made by Supergiants, who for years now have made really good games, but they've never hit that mainstream. Sort of broken the mainstream, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, whereas Hades feels like that's the game to really put them on the map. People will play it and go, shit, what are they working on next? And I think it would be such a good story for them to win Game of the Year.
Oh yeah, no, I think it would be. Yeah, it would just be a great end to the year, and I think because like so many critics also jumped on it, I think it has a strong chance.
Yeah. I don't know if I should put my money there though. I said this like I've bet my house on this. Like shit, what am I gonna do? I think I'm gonna go for like another. It's not really like a left field whatever, but I think Animal Crossing does have a chance of surprising a lot of people. I think it would piss off a lot of hardcore gamers if it won.
Yeah, they'd be like, what's this indie game nonsense? Like,
But I just think, given the struggle that was 2020 and how Animal Crossing, like I think people look at this list will go, cool, I loved all these games, but Animal Crossing was like at the peak of lockdown, and it helped me connecting with friends in different ways. So I don't know. I think it's a real gamble, but I'm going to go with Animal Crossing.
Okay. I could see it as well. It would again also be the same thing, just like, yeah, what a feel good, way to end the year. So yeah.
But yeah, to find out what I want to be Game of the Year, you just have to, where my vote is, you're going to have to wait a week.
Wait a whole week. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I think we've just about hit the 2-hour mark, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, we we didn't get to news this week. We're probably not going to get to questions either. But like, it's been a big episode.
It's been a long. I mean, yeah, it almost feels like we could have split this up.
Yeah,
into its whole separate thing, but we won't because the awards are this Thursday. So
it's the last normal, quote unquote, normal episode for Checkpoint Chat for the year. The next episode coming out next week will be our Game of the Year stuff. And that'll be us for 2020. So if you don't happen to listen to Game of the Year discussions, thank you for all your support throughout 2020. We hope we've kept you entertained while you've been working from home or having to drive into work or whatever. It's been a year for us as well, having to completely change the way we record podcasts and dealing with the issues that arise from that. But yeah, some exciting stuff happening next year. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for all your support, and follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't. And yeah, we'll see you.
Do all of the good things.
We'll see you next week.
See ya. See you later, alligator.
In a while, crocodile.
Oh no. Stop it.
Okay, bye.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Goodbye.